You know, when you start a job and one thing leads to another, and before you know it, you've opened up a massive can of worms. That's kind of where I am. The game room needs total destruction, and I don't know what's going to happen really. So like I say, I've opened up a can of worms. As I've said in a couple of previous videos, I wanted to change the one side of the room to incorporate some vinyl and get a Kallax. And I did this about a week ago, but it's turned out that I like the Kallax so much, I'm thinking I want to incorporate it on the other side of the room now as well. But it's fraught with problems. However, I've been thinking about it in my mind the past sort of week, and I think I've worked out how I'm going to do it. So I've decided to go for it basically, and I'll have a run of Kallax down either side of the room. I think it's going to look so much nicer, but there's an awful lot of work involved, unfortunately. However, I just thought, for my own sort of record, if you like, I thought I would document this side because I didn't do the other side, and I kind of regret that now. But anyway, I don't know how this video is going to come together, but it might be a bit of a patchwork. But it's basically, it's going to be a major game room upgrade, hopefully, but a lot of deconstruction and a lot of rebuilding. So that's where we're at. Thanks for watching. Let's hope it goes well. So as you can see, I've moved the cabs and I've now got the Kallax unit in situ, and I really like how it looks. It really suits the room. It looks so much better, looks more cohesive, and it really made me want to do the other side, but it's a mass of problems and it's a huge job, I've got to say. So basically I want to replicate this on the other side. So basically I want to replace all this. It's a massive job. I'm not even sure where to start, but I mean, this kind of side of the room has been built up ever since I've lived here basically, and it's kind of been added to as I've gone along and needed more storage, and it's kind of a bit of a hodgepodge of stuff I've either customised or made myself to fit the space I've got, because, you know, I don't know how the room looks on camera, but it's quite a small room, and so most furniture doesn't fit, and so I've ended up custom sort of altering or making all this on this side of the room basically. But having bought the Kallax on the other side, I've found out that that fits very well. So I want to do the same this side, and I've measured it up, and I can just get, it's almost a perfect fit for 6 Kallax units, as in like 6 cubes wide, a 4 and a 2. There's like 10 mil to spare to get both in, which, you know, it's almost the perfect fit, and height wise it's pretty much bang on for what I need. But there's an awful lot of reorganisation to do. The wires behind all this, you know, they've just been added to and taken away and changed over the years, and it's an absolute spaghetti junction of wiring behind there. Marcus would have a heart attack. So I think, you know, I've basically got to strip it all out completely and start again. I mean, it's a massive job. It's daunting, to be honest, but I'm thinking of the end goal, and it's going to be a load better. There are problems in getting all my consoles within the sort of, and I'm going to go too high on the Kallax, so it's going to be 12 cubes basically. I've got more stuff than 12 cubes, so I've got to have the dividers on some of them to gain more space on the consoles that allow me to sort of put 2 in each cube basically. But anyway, next step really, well, I've got to go to IKEA to get the Kallax, and then I've got to start dismantling all this. So we'll see where we go from here. Okay, we are officially in a big fat mess. Stuff absolutely everywhere. However, the site is clear-ish. Right, we now have slightly more order. We've managed to get some floor space. I can't get in that end of the room. However, it's time to start building. So, small update. Kallaxes are built. So it's a matter of reorganising everything now, and I'm just going to tie these 2 Kallaxes together as well so they don't move. So that's the next step. Okay, first problem, I'm sure there'll be many more to come. The TV doesn't fit. It's obviously slightly higher than I'd got before, and the TV won't go far enough back. It's already hanging over the edge, and it's not, you know, it's not flat. It's already leaning forward. So it's either take it off the stand and just lean it on the base of the TV, which I've done elsewhere and it works fine, or it's switch the TV for one of my spares. Problems. Okay, we're getting a bit tidier. Still lots to do, but we've kind of got a bit more organised. Nothing's plumbed in, well, there's a couple of things plumbed in, but not much is plumbed in. But I think we've got to a point where I think I've got everything fixed in a suitable position. I've had some changes on the screen front, obviously. Decided to get rid of the larger one and get a couple of smaller ones back in. So, I need to get some dividers in the Kallax next, so as I can properly position the consoles, and then everything's got to be wired up. Quite a mammoth job. But that's the state of progress at the moment. We're getting there. Welcome back. We're getting there. As you can see, I've got all the consoles in position now. I've got all the dividers in the bottom half of the unit. I'm not sure, you know, I could have gone either way really, but I wanted them all in a line so it looked kind of similar. And I was quite happy with what I've done. I could have put them on the top and left the bottom big, but you know, it swings and roundabouts. I'm happy with how it looks. Nothing's wired up really yet. I've wired up Outrun, obviously. First of all, had to be. But yeah, so it's all wiring work now. And how I've moved things around, I do need to buy another sort of multi-plug tower, you know, because I haven't got enough sockets basically how I've moved things around. So I can't plug everything in yet until I get something. But overall, I'm pleased with how it's come together. I've made quite a lot of changes really, and the setup's better now, I think. I mean, it probably will change as I sort of live with it, but at the moment it's definitely better. I've got things hooked up to a CRT which I hadn't before, which is better obviously. I've lost my big screen, which is a shame, but I've gained a little CRT on this wall, which is kind of nice. So yeah, I'm quite pleased. I've got my sort of entertainment tower, if you like, the old hi-fi stack, as it were. I've got my I was quite keen to get that hooked up in some way. It's obviously my media centre. You know, I've got my VHS, DVD, American DVD player, and my Laserdisc player. Awesome. It's just a shame I've lost my big screen, as I say, but you know, has to be compromises all the time. Overall though, I'm quite pleased. It's been a solid day's work, I would say, up to now, and all the wiring still to do, and then there's all the fettling about and probably changing a few things as I get to grips with and using it and living with it. Right, we're all wired up now. Slight bit of tidying to do. I think it's come together quite well. I do like the Kallax, looks really nice. So just to finish off, we've got quite a few bits that are no longer in use, so surplus to requirements, but I'm really pleased with how it's come out now. There's a bit of wiring tidying up to do, but everything's in place. I need one more plug, sort of extension adapter, you know, probably a four gang, I think maybe I'll do it. Anyway, I need one of them and everything's back in use. Everything's now hooked up, aside from the few bits of wiring to do, like I say. Not tested everything yet, so there may be problems, but nevertheless, I'm really pleased with how it's come out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, everybody.